Want to welcome you to today's Monday Morning Mastermind. This is a mastermind for my joint venture partners and members of the Academy. But I wanted to go ahead and open it up to everybody today because of a situation that occurred over the weekend. And some of you may be experiencing something similar, so I thought it would really help. You're going to get some fantastic information here to help really get you going. Now, let's talk about what happened. And before I even get into this, you need to understand it's really everything is about perspective. Okay, I saw, you guys know who Les Brown is. I saw him 20 years ago in Atlanta over at this big thing with the Cobb Galleria. And one thing that I took away from that was, and one thing he says all the time, when things go bad, don't go with them. Okay. Everything is about perception. You got things that are going on in your life right now, and when you get all stressed out about them, and okay, it doesn't look like things are going good, in many cases, that thing that you think is bad is actually a blessing in disguise, and you're not open and receptive to the opportunity that is directly in front of you. In many cases, you don't know exactly what your options are, and this, you see this. I used to see this all the time when I was dealing with short sales. You have people that are in pre-foreclosure, they're freaking out. They think that they're going to lose their entire life and everything, and it's just this big horrible thing. And the only issue they had was they didn't understand what their options were. That everything was not going to turn out the way that they thought it would if they would simply focus and be receptive to looking for and finding and examining some new options that are out there. So here's what happened. One of our guys, was, and this is the case with many people. They're working slave jobs, trying to get out of them. Working to get going in real estate investing or get going in generating multiple streams of income. Well, he got the pink slip, got the boot, the can, got fired. No more money for you. You don't work here anymore. Okay? Maybe that's ever happened to any of you, but that can be a very devastating, demoralizing situation to go through. Depending on how the whole thing goes down. And if you've ever, I used to have this rule when I worked at places, because I've been fired many times because I don't play well with others most of the time, as I think you guys already know. But I used to make it a rule that whatever I moved into an office could all be carried out in one trip, because I was not about to make the walk of shame back in to the office to get more junk that I had built in there to, in my office or whatever over a period of time as I'd settled in and gotten comfortable. So I always kept it light, whatever could fit in that one box, that one bin, that was it, baby. You come tell me I'm gone, I'm out of here, and I'm moving on to the next thing, okay? So let's talk about what happens. So it goes in, whatever happens, I don't know, now he doesn't have a job. Well, I assume, I don't know yet, but I assume there's still 2 more weeks worth of paychecks that are coming in, but now it's do or die time, right? Now what are you going to do? Okay. All right. Wyatt is saying the sound has cut off. Can anybody else having that problem? Can you hear me? Anybody? Can still hear? Okay. So Wyatt may be on your end. All right. So getting fired is horrible. Okay. Nobody likes to get fired. It's terrible. I mean, you get dejected, devastated. Right? Don't want to get fired, but sometimes it's the best thing that can happen to you. Okay? Absolute best thing that can happen to you, because now guess what? It's go time, right? And you can look at it as, oh, I'm down in the dumps and I'm all depressed and I got fired and my ego took a beating and feel terrible, blah blah blah, whatever it is. Okay, so you can go through all those, the 7 stages of grief or whatever they call it. But now it's time to move on, man. You got to move on. Okay? It's not a big deal. You got plenty of opportunity out there. You have a 24/7 global cash register at your fingertips called the internet, and whether it's real estate investing or something else, doesn't really make a difference. There's all kinds of opportunity that's out there. So when I found this out, I had this conversation, and I was like, look, this is best, one of the best things that could have ever happened. I know it doesn't feel that way, but it is, because now there's no more excuses to chase the dream that you say you have, which is to be a full-time real estate investor, a full-time virtual real estate investor, being able to do what I do, which is work from anywhere, live life on your terms, be location independent, go where you want to go, do what you want to do, have people pay to bring you deal. There's all of these new opportunities now that before you didn't have time for, because you were working a slave job, because you were comfortable, because of that paycheck. Okay, and comfort and convenience are killers, guys, absolute killers. So while certainly I, wouldn't openly wish for anybody to get fired and go through the stress involved in not having an income stream going forward, I will tell you that all right, somebody else is saying they don't have sound now. Okay, I don't know. Some of you are saying, everybody's 90% are saying they hear fine, and 10% are saying they can't hear at all. So, all right, we're gonna keep rocking. So, here's what's going to make the difference for him, okay, as to whether or not this is a blessing or a curse, and it all boils down to what lies within, okay. It really all boils down. So, the question that I would ask him would be say, look, okay, are you serious? Okay, are you a serious person? Like, is everything you said legit, or are you completely full of shit? Because it's one or the other. Okay, I'm sorry, it's one or the other. It's one of the two. And guess what? This is where the rubber meets the road, and we're going to find out which one it is. Okay, this is an absolute blessing if you take this opportunity and follow the instructions that I'm going to give you and change your life, because that's the opportunity that you've now been given. You don't have the excuse of 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week at a job and all the drive time and the commutes and the putting the uniforms together and all this other wasted time that is not dollar productive that goes along with working for somebody else. You don't have to deal with that anymore. Now all you have to do is focus. Okay, everything that we do, it's all done with nothing but what I call keystrokes and sound waves. Punching on the keyboard, bam, bam, bam. Talking on the phone, that's it. Okay, if I can do it, so can you. You guys have heard me. I don't sound that great, right? I think I sound like Kermit the Frog. Somebody else told me I sound like was the woolly mammoth in Ice Age, Ray Romano, right? I don't know. I don't sound that great, right? Who am I? I'm just a guy, right? I dropped out of high school, dropped out of college, did all those things, but guess what? Here I am. And the only reason I'm here is because I kept pushing. All right, I had a dream, had a vision, wanted better things for my life. Okay, didn't want to let those things stand in my way. You don't have to do that either, but what you do have to do is focus. Most people don't want to do that. In this age that we're in right now with the internet, with Facebook and Twitter, and yeah, I know you guys all found me with Facebook, but it is this constant barrage of just idiocy and nonsense, and even I get sucked into it at times, and you cannot do that right now, especially for him. It is time for absolute clarity and focus, because he has at his grasp the ability to generate 6 figures on one single deal with nothing but a couple of phone calls, right? We just sent a contract out this morning with 23, I think he's 23 years old, JVP on $1 million house in California. We got Brandon, he's on here. We got a contract going out on a $4 million property, okay, $4 million. Do you have any idea what kind of payday that's going to be? All right, we've got another one that's coming in. These young guys are going after it, right? Because they don't know any better, and it's fantastic. They just follow instructions, and they're swinging for the fences. I love it. And you guys can do the exact same. These are 6-figure paydays, one deal, without all the hoopla and the rigmarole that you have to go through in a standard real estate transaction. No clearing titles, no waiting for closings, no any other crazy nonsense. That's the opportunity that he has right now if he can simply focus. So, I told him over the weekend, go lick your wounds, whatever, deal with whatever all that stuff is, get rid of it, and Monday morning it's time to go to work. So I'm going to show you, and this is perfect timing, I'm going to show you exactly what I do and what you guys need to be doing if you're serious. Most of you are not, unfortunately. I watch you people on Facebook, I see what you're doing, I see you say one thing, and then you're over here goofing off, screwing around, wasting all kinds of time on stupid stuff on Facebook. It's not going to make you any money, it's not monetized. Okay, so it's easy to see who's serious because their actions prove everything. All right, so let's get into what he needs to do and what you need to do if you're serious and you want to start doing real estate investing deals on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, month in, month out, with consistency, without the roller coaster income, without all the headaches and hassles that are associated with traditional REI. All right, so here's what we're going to cover. This is what we put on the splash page earlier today. 5 simple steps to generate free leads. Free leads. Okay, guess what? He got fired. Damn thing. Last thing he wants to do right now is go spend money on bandit signs or mailers. I can guarantee you that, right? I don't want to spend money on that stuff. Why? The leads are free and they're everywhere. I'm going to show you exactly where to go to get them. Okay, I'm going to show you what kind of leads we're looking for, what kind of deal type, and how anybody that's on this call today can do a deal this week, because you only need 3 things. You need a buyer, a seller, and a contract. That is it. Guess what? You can get all 3 of them for free. Okay. Next thing is 5 simple tricks to build a pipeline. This is the biggest, probably biggest thing that I could ever potentially cover. It is the so frustrating when I watch people. Then you'll see why here in a minute when we cover the slide when I go through this. What happens is there's lack of consistency, lack of understanding of sales and what you're doing here to build your business, and they don't build pipelines, okay? And then they start working on a deal and they stop doing everything they did to build a pipeline, and then you get roller coaster income. You close a deal, you make some money, fantastic, oh, you're on top of the world, but guess what? Now you're back to square one, ground zero, because you got nothing behind it. And that's how people get in and out of REI every single day. They go out and they do some wholesale deal, they do a contract assignment, they do whatever, blah, 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 but they stopped working. We're going to go through how to not let that happen, okay? And the next thing is how to close more deals. That's what we all want, right? Everybody wants to close more deals. It really is not that challenging, but we're going to talk about what a lot of you are not doing, okay? So for those of you who are not JVPs or in the academy, you may not even be in my Facebook group, the Virtual Real Estate Investor Facebook group. You may be on my personal timeline for friends or whatever. Let me explain to you the absolute fastest way to make money in REI. REI stands for real estate investing, if you guys didn't pick up on that. I'm not talking about the sporting goods store. So the fastest way to make money in REI, bar none, is retail sandwiches and assignments. Period, end of the story. That's it. There is no faster way. I don't care what anybody tells you. That's it. And let me explain to you how I know that, because I've done it. It is the only deal type other than, and when I say retail sandwiches and assignments, you can throw in lease options, sandwiches and assignments as well. It's basically the same thing, just different contract structure. But it is the fastest way to make money, because here's what you can do. You can start with nothing. Right now, what time is it? 11:17 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I can start with absolutely nothing right now. I can find either a buyer or a seller today, contract with them. Takes just a couple minutes. We've got it all built out in Podio, so you just click a button and it automatically sends them everything. They execute the agreement, and then I go get the missing piece, whether that's a house or whether that's a buyer for a house. Okay? They execute the agreement. I get a wire fired. They go see the house obviously or whatever, and they get a wire fired, and they can be moving in this afternoon. I have turned deal start to finish same day, starting with absolutely nothing. Can't do that in any other type of conventional real estate investing, because it requires marketing, it requires mailers or bandit signs. There's lead time, there's cost, there's placement time. I don't care if you're handing out flyers you printed off your printer, and you're going around to all the laundromats and doing the little tear-offs and all this kind of stuff. You have all kinds of time invested in being able to do that, when you can simply get on the internet and generate leads in seconds for free if you know what you're doing. When you can get on the phone and generate leads in seconds for free if you know what you're doing. We're going to cover that here in just a second. Okay? So what is a retail sandwich and assignment? If you don't, some of you guys may not know what I'm talking about. I buy a house on contract, no money down, owner finance contract. Okay? I can do that. I do it all the time. So I go out and I contract on a house. Somebody wants to sell it. They can't sell it because nobody can get financing. I'm going to contract on that property. I can even do it as a sandwich lease option. You can do the same thing. I like to do the owner finance deals because I like a bona fide sale. I like everything up front. Everybody knows what's going on, what the intent is. Okay? But I go buy a property, and I buy it no money down, so I don't have any cash out of pocket. There's no mortgage. There's no credit involved. I'm an investor, so no, you're not pulling my credit to buy the house. I'm going to be giving you money. What is it? What's the issue, right? I don't run into those. If you guys listen to the podcast calls, I don't think you've ever heard anybody ask me if they can see my credit report. Okay, so I can go out there and do things, and you can too. It's not me. You guys can do this stuff too, where the average individual that's out there thinks that to buy a house they have to go. They have a down payment. They got to go out and then they got to go find something, get a realtor or whatever. They got to go contract on the house. They got to go through this rigmarole with a mortgage company, and then 30 days, 45 days later, they finally get to close on it, and it's this big, unbelievable ordeal where you and I can contract on a property of any dollar amount in any location today with no money out of pocket, never seeing the house, never meeting anybody. Simply send them a contract, they execute it, bam, done. And if you do it my way, it's set up with a seller leaseback, so I don't have to make any payments until I provide them a notice to vacate, which I'm not going to do until I have sold the home and I have cash in hand from a buyer. At that point, then I'll provide them the notice to vacate, and that's when my payments begin. But when I say my payments, but my payments are being made by somebody else. Okay, so you talk about an unbelievable arbitrage, not only from a business perspective, but let's say of all the people that are on this call, I guarantee you 80% of you don't qualify for a mortgage right now. I already know that. If it's not more than 80%, because we survey mortgage brokers every single week. Even if you have a 740 credit score, 800 credit score, doesn't make a difference. I can tell you right now, 80% of you don't qualify for conventional mortgage financing. It's not because you have bad credit. It's just because of the way they've layered the lending guidelines. Okay, so that being the case, that's the way it is nationwide right now with the entire population of the U.S. They don't qualify. The banks aren't lending. They tell you they are. They tell you on CNBC and all their outlets that they are. But as a general rule, they really are not. Okay. This provides you the ability to go in there and bridge that gap and arbitrage, take advantage of the arbitrage between buying that property on contract where you have no cash out of pocket today. You didn't have to get involved in credit. You didn't have to clear title. You didn't have to wait for some mortgage, loan jockey to get your mortgage approved, and maybe he does and maybe he doesn't, and you're on pins and needles trying to find out. You don't have to deal with any of that stuff. You don't have to spend any money on marketing. Okay, I mean, I don't know how this could get any easier. I will tell you what the catch is, though. Catch is you got to get educated. You got to practice, and most people don't want to do that. They don't want to learn how to sell and close because there's this stigma that they're, something wrong with being in sales. Well, I got bad news for you. Every business is in the business of sales. Every business. Otherwise, it's not a business. Well, it's a nonprofit. Okay, philanthropy. But every business is in the business of sales. So if you understand that core foundation is the purpose of every business to sell and sell more efficiently and faster and for less money. By less money, I mean less cost to the business to do all those things. Then doesn't it make sense that the number one skill that you should have been taught back in high school was the ability to learn how to sell and close? And by sell and close, I'm not talking about used car salesman nonsense. I'm talking about a professional, conversational sales closing approach. Okay, where you're having a conversation with someone, you're determining what their needs are, and you're solving their problem. And if you can do that, when you do that, they have absolutely no problem whatsoever with you making money. Okay, it's not like these things you hear in these other groups. I don't want so-and-so to see how much money I'm making. If you listen to the podcast episode I did with the financial advisor for the Major League Baseball player, I told him, came right across the table, told him, so I will be making 6 figures. Why hide it? It is what it is. It's my way or the highway. If I'm involved, this is what I'm doing, and that's what I'm going to make. If that's a problem, then we've got to go in a different direction. Okay? So a lot of the stuff, these fears that you guys have are really not founded. You just haven't been educated or practiced on the ability to have those conversations with people, so it's not an issue. Okay? So you can take control and have that conversation and have it not be an issue. And the only way that you're ever going to be able to do that is by, guess what, rolling your sleeves up, getting on the phone, and talking to people. Okay? A lot of people don't want to do that. They want to go buy a course and get annuity payments every month without having to do any work, and that's not reality. Not for me or for anybody else. Okay? So a retail sandwich and assignment, these are the fastest ways, lease option sandwich and assignment, fastest ways to make money in real estate investing, period, end of story, bar none. Make money today, get a wire in your account today, the buyer can be in the property today, seller can have cash today, everybody wins. It's a great deal for all parties. Okay? There is no faster way. Period. That's it. This is it right here. If you want fast and you want free, this is it. Now, if you want to go out there and spend a bunch of money, waste a bunch of time, do all kinds of crazy marketing, and have to, jump through all kinds of hoops on titles and everything else, you can do those things. But if you want fast, easy, and free, and you can do it from the beach, this is how you do it. Okay, and I can teach you how to do all these other deal types as well. But this is how we start people off because I want people making money quickly. Okay. So that's the deal type that we're talking about. And let's get into the 5 simple steps to generate free leads. And I have proven and documented all of these for you multiple times, many times over, in the podcast, on Facebook, on the website, etc. So we just did this a week and a half or so ago. I showed people, I put out a couple of free posts on Facebook to my friends, to a couple of pages or whatever, and within literally a minute, had people raising their hand, yes, I'm interested in buying a house, no credit qualifying. Yes, I'm interested in buying a property on an owner finance deal, right? Within a minute, the first one came over. And then there were more than a dozen of them off a free Facebook post. I'm not even talking about a Facebook ad or a boosted or sponsored post. I'm just talking about, hey, here's a post on my timeline. And all I did was put on there the little colored thing, right? The little colored background, right? That's it. Boom. Opportunity right there for free. Doesn't cost you a dime. Next up, Craigslist. Love Craigslist. I mean, love-hate. It's a love-hate relationship with Craigslist. But lead source. I mean, they're out there everywhere. Sellers are there. We had, I tell you guys this. This is hilarious. So when I first came out with this years ago, or let me say, like, people started asking me about this because they heard me on a podcast going back in 2012 or 13. And I was telling people about the 10-minute task and generating leads from Craigslist and all that. Everybody said that, there's no way, right? There's no way that you're getting any kind of lead that you would want, especially on a property from Craigslist, right? Real sellers don't go there. They list in the MLS, blah, 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 all the stupid stuff you normally hear. So the $1.8 million deal with the Major League Baseball player, guess where the JVP found him? Found him on Craigslist. Why? Because his realtor that he had the property listed with hadn't sold the home, so he was taking matters into his own hands because he wanted to move. So here he is, Hall of Famer, marketing his property on Craigslist himself. That's how we came in contact with him. You guys can hear the calls on the podcast. There's 2 of them, one with him and then one with his financial advisor. Okay. So there was proof, the $1.8 million deal from Craigslist. Okay, boom, there it was. So one of my guys, it's hilarious. Again, 23-year-old kid. He got there's a property that will if we're able to contract on this thing, I'm supposed to talk to him later today, would be the highest purchase price property that I have ever personally done. Numbers are coming in. It's in LA, overlooks the city skyline. All this. This thing is it's like over 10,000 square feet. It's a pad. I'm telling you, it's an absolute pad. And we're going to be in the high 7. Let me see, is I'm saying that right? 7 figures to low 8 figures, depending on where the valuation comes in. Okay, for this property. And when I pulled up the address, talking to me today, I pulled it up and I can't find the property for sale anywhere. I'm like, where the hell did you find this? It's like, it's not listed. I can't find it listed for sale anywhere. And he started laughing. He's like, I found it on Craigslist. I want you guys to think about that for a second. Okay, we're talking about a property that's easily worth somewhere between $9 and $11 million. Okay, $9 and $11 million. And this 23-year-old kid found it on Craigslist and contacted them, and they are interested in what we have to say, to the point that they have confirmed a phone call for this afternoon. He's 23. Do you have any idea what would happen if we were able to close that deal and get a buyer in there? I mean, you're talking about a 6-figure payday for a 23-year-old kid. And what did he do? He followed my instructions and he got on Craigslist and he found a lead. And he talked to them and pre-qualified them and then got them to confirm a time to get on the phone. How difficult is that? Not difficult at all, right? I mean, you can do that, can't you? Anybody that's on here can do that. This is a 23-year-old kid. I call him a kid. I shouldn't probably call him a kid, but anyway, he's going out there swinging for the fences. So the leads are out there, okay, and they want what you have. They just don't know about it. That's why they're not coming to you. So you're going to have to go to them presently, and we'll show you how to do all that stuff. Now, the next and my personal favorite source of leads is mortgage brokers. Okay, now I was one. I speak the language. It's easy for me. I have a problem. They have a problem that I can solve. They're fantastic referral relationships when they're set up properly and they're managed properly. and you train them properly, absolutely fantastic. They've got buyers that want to buy. They have cash. They've already got all of their information. They've pre-qualified them, debt-to-income ratio, whole 9 yards, and they can't get them approved for a loan today, but you can get them into a home. Okay, absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. It's the warm handoff from the trusted financial advisor to you, the savior who can solve their problems. Okay, it only takes a few phone calls to be able to set these things up. We have live calls on the podcast that you can listen to where people are referring me deals where people that have $100,000 in cash to put down on the house. They can get them approved. Okay, you guys can do this, right? Trust me, you can do this, right? So next up, realtors. Stephen just asked a question a minute ago. Can you cover how you market to realtors? Sure. It's not any different. Really, it's not any different than marketing to mortgage brokers. You know, realtors. How many dead leads are they dealing with on a daily basis that they can't because their loan officer can't get the guy approved? The ratios have to be the same as loan officers, right, on purchase money, because that's where all the loan officers are getting their leads from. They're getting referral leads from realtors. So it's really no different than them with them. You know, their big thing is obviously they want to get paid today. Now they have a dead lead that they're not going to get paid on today if they're on the buyer's agency side. So you have the ability to, and they are licensed, so you can pay them a referral fee. You guys understand that, okay? And it's up to them how they want to run it through, if they want to run it through their brokerage or if they want to act in an investor capacity or what they want to do. It's entirely up to them. But you can pay them legally for a referral because they are licensed. They're able to participate in licensed activities and get compensated for it. But it's very simple. You know, talking to a realtor, hey, you've got these people that are trying to get into a home. If they don't get approved for a loan, what are you doing with them? I can already tell you what they're doing with them. Okay, it's the same spiel that everybody else is going to give you. Oh, we put them in credit repair. Oh, we do this or we do that. And guess what? They never talk to them again because the realtor wants to eat today, just like the loan officer does. They want to eat today. Okay, they got a quota. They got a you know, some of them are on tiered compensation where depending on how much revenue they bring in a given month, they make more money. So they want to eat today. What can I find and kill and eat today? That's what they're focused on. They're not focused on the guy that's not going to qualify for 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 18, 24 months. Okay, that guy goes into a dead pile, never to be heard from again, or to be communicated with again. So it's very easy. You give them the ability to help their client, okay, to legally own a home today, not be a renter. Opportunity for them to get paid today, okay, which they like. That's really what they're there for. And potentially an opportunity for them to get paid down the road depending on how the deal is put together. So it's really a no-brainer for realtors also because once again, they've spent money and time to generate a lead that's now dead that they can't make money from. You're going to provide them an opportunity to make money from that dead lead. If you can't sell, let me just tell you this, guys, okay? If you can't sell somebody on the fact that you will pay them money for their dead lead, and they can make money today, they can potentially make money every month, and they can make money potentially on the backside as well. If you have a hard time selling that, you need to get out of real estate investing altogether. I mean, let me get this straight. I have a dead lead here, and you're willing to not only help them, make me look like a champ, but I also get paid for it when I can't perform because of XYZ. That is an absolute no-brainer sale. Right? So, okay, I mean, realtors are, you know, now the challenge you run into with realtors, let's be honest, I'll be honest with you because I bash realtors all the time, and people think I hate realtors. I don't hate realtors. I hate incompetent realtors. I hate realtors that commit fraud. I hate realtors that do things illegally. They violate the law. That I don't like. But, you know, you get a great realtor, you get some great realtor relationships. There's nothing better than a great realtor. There are very few of them, unfortunately, just like with mortgage brokers. You know, you got to kiss a lot of frogs. But you find the good ones, and you build and develop a genuine relationship, a win-win, two-way street relationship, and it becomes a fantastic opportunity for you guys going on down the road. Just because I say negative stuff about realtors from time to time, it's typically because of the ones that we end up dealing with on some of these deals, where they, you know, openly break the law. You've heard it on the podcast. People saw the episodes. I had to jump on one guy for some stuff he was doing. But at any rate, so realtors, now here's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to come up with number five. Okay? So you guys tell me Okay. What's the fifth way? Tell me a fifth way to generate free leads today. What is the fifth way that we can generate free leads today? Anybody? Put it over on the right-hand side. Oh, Wyatt, LinkedIn. Great. I don't do anything. I probably should. I don't do anything on LinkedIn because it's not on my radar, and probably should be, but it's because LinkedIn, you know, I have the sort of mentality that's there for people that are looking for a job. But that's who is it? Somebody else was actually doing that, and they were generating really good quality mortgage broker leads. I think it was maybe Brandon Christie, mortgage broker leads, and then buyers off of LinkedIn also. So yes, that's another good one. Anybody else got another one? Okay. Can everybody see the questions on the right-hand side? Can everybody see everybody else's question? I know I can see them all. I don't know if you guys can see them. Okay. Sean, let me ask you a question. You said Twitter. I'm not as active on Twitter as I should be. How would you do that on Twitter? Just blast out like you do on Facebook, or some kind of a, I don't know how, educate me on that, because I don't know what I would do other than just put on there that, hey, I buy houses, or I can say a house. Okay, Clint says hot pad Zillow. That's good. Okay, only I can see the questions. All right. Isn't there there's a chat box over here too, right? You guys don't have that? Must have different things on my side. I don't know. Okay. Other business networks, okay. Vacant neighborhood houses, okay. That's certainly one. Okay, Wyatt says the average LinkedIn user earns almost 6K. Well, that fits in with, you know, ideally what we're looking for, which is a six-figure household, because probably the wife makes the other 4K, right? So now you're at 10,000 a month, six-figure income. All right, Jimmy says newspaper. You know, that's. I got to tell you something. It's funny you mention that, because I was out the other day, and I can't remember where I was at. But everybody that was sitting around, of course, was on their device. Everybody had their phone, their iPad, their tablet, or whatever. And there's this old guy in there, and he's reading a newspaper. And I'm like, good God, I can't remember the last time I actually saw a newspaper. But yeah, newspaper. I mean, fortunes have been made on the classified section. I used to make a ton of money off the classified section. That's another good one. Jeff Whalen says Instagram. That's another one somebody's going to have to teach me how to do. What I mean, I don't get the whole Instagram mark. I know people are doing it and generating leads. Somebody in the academy was doing that the other day too, talking about they were generating leads off Instagram. L'Oreal says expired listing, fantastic. If you have access to them, that's, I mean, though you talk about somebody that's looking. Oh, I got another one for you guys too. But you talk about somebody that's looking for a solution. It's the expired listing that their house hasn't sold. You think for a second they're not open to you guys coming up and providing them a buyer and handing them some cash for that vacant house that hasn't been sold? I mean, that's a no-brainer deal if you have access to the expired listings. I mean, I'd be dialing for dollars. Boom, just pick up the phone, just call them. All you can do is tell you no. The worst thing they can do is cuss you out and hang up on you. That's it. Okay? If you can't handle that, you need to get out of this business, because it's going to happen. Water off a duck's back. We just move on to the next one. They're having a bad day. Don't worry about it. Okay? David Patrick says, in my call so far with this, the owners of the more expensive homes were less skeptical than the lower price points for some reason. You're exactly right, and that's exactly why I tell people to go after minimums, because it's easier to do $1 million deal and make $100,000 or $200,000 than it is to do a $150,000 deal to make $5,000. Okay. All right. What else we got? Blast out. Okay. Instagram. Same message for Facebook. Can be posted on Instagram. Video can be created on Instagram stories to show the house. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Canva flyer. Okay, that's all great stuff. Fizbo or Zillow.com. Those are all great sources. Here's another one for you. It kind of goes under realtors, but most people don't think about this because they haven't done these types of deals. okay? The flat fee broker is one of the very best sources for sellers that you're going to find. And you talk about working with realtors. These are realtors that you can work with very easily, and here's why. They've already made their money. There is no other commission coming in for them. And they will, unlike the traditional realtor, which is kind of hilarious, on a traditional deal, they will instantly give you the seller's contact information to call them. I think I covered this on one of the other webinars, but Rhonda Duffy in Atlanta, she's the #1 sales broker in Atlanta, has been for as long as I can remember, probably 15, 20 years. But she runs a big flat fee business, and I've done deals. I just call up her agent and say, hey, here's what we're trying to do. And say, okay, here's the seller's name and number. Tell them we sent you over. And bam, in seconds I was on the phone with the seller working towards a contract on the deal that we did. Matter of fact, the testimonial on the website, Rick Gilliam, his deal came from Rhonda Duffy on the flat fee listing, and they just gave me the number. And I called the seller and got the contract, and a couple days later I got a wire and he's moving in. So that's another really good one. All right. So let's talk about, this is a big one for most of you people, okay? How to build a pipeline. Fastest way to build a pipeline. Why is a pipeline important? Pipeline is important because without a pipeline you die, okay? The funds get cut off. You've got to keep the pipeline full of new deals, full of new cash. Most people don't do that. What do? Right? They're working. And here, you know, guys, let me share this with you here real quick. Let me show you something here, so you can understand a big major problem, okay, that most people have, and why many people that are on this call are not going to be successful. They're not successful now, and they're not ever going to be successful. And it's a massive lack of focus. It's a massive lack of priority. So GoToWebinar has this thing built in, and it tells me how many people are attentive, what the percentage is, because I guess somehow they can tell if you're screwing around on Facebook while you're on this thing, if you're doing something else. And so we just jumped up from 58% attentive to 62, now to 66, because you guys are off not paying attention here, screwing around, and if you're working a slave job, you're doing other stuff, don't have the income that you want, you don't have the pipeline, the business that you want, the referrals, the leads coming in that you want. This is a big reason why, because you're not serious, you're not focused, you're off screwing around doing other stuff when you have an opportunity right now to get into something and learn how to make 6 figures for free. Who else is going to teach you that and do it for free? Nobody, right? Does that make sense? So anyway, all right, so as far as the fastest way to build a pipeline, you got to eat the elephant. That's the very fastest way to do it, but in order to do that, you have to know how to eat the elephant, and that's one bite at a time. You've got to have the goal. If you guys haven't watched the How to Eat an Elephant webinar that we did, you got to go back and watch that. You need to understand what your goal is, and you have to then break that down into daily action items. That's how I always did things in a production-based business, like being a mortgage broker, loan officer, whatever, being in real estate sales, selling manufactured housing, you name it. Same thing here, something different. I have a legal pad on the right-hand side of my legal pad on the right-hand side of my desk. And I would break out on that. I knew exactly how many people I had to contact on a daily basis based on my conversion ratio to get to the income that I wanted to have, that I needed to have, and more. Okay? Most of you probably don't have written goals. If you do have written goals, you probably don't have a written How to Eat an Elephant plan. You probably don't know on a daily basis exactly how many people you have to talk to get the number of leads, qualified leads, to be able to then convert them based on your closing ratio, right? You've got to do those things. If you guys have not watched the How to Eat an Elephant webinar, you need to do that today. You need to listen to what it says, because I've never, ever once in 20 years had anybody that's ever followed that hasn't doubled or tripled their annual goal in less than 6 months. Think about that. You have an annual goal, $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year. Following the How to Eat an Elephant plan, if you follow that on a daily basis consistently, and that's the big key, We've never had it once where somebody did not break through their annual goal in 90 to 180 days. And then they took it off from there, okay? But most people aren't doing that because they don't teach this kind of stuff, right? They just tell you, oh, spit out a bunch of marketing and, spaghetti against the wall, machine gun, rapid fire approach, and blah, 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 blah. Don't get your skills up. Don't learn how to sell and close. Don't get educated on your craft. Don't learn about what you're talking about so you can sound intelligent with people. Don't tell you all those things. And then they certainly don't tell you the implementation that you need to have on a daily basis to be able to accomplish the goals that you have, if you even have goals. You gotta, and if you don't, then that's a whole other conversation. So, like I told you, one of the guys got fired. Okay, got no job. So the choice is, here it is. Choice is what? Go back to looking for a job, working for somebody else, spending your life working for somebody else, or build your business, focus, get jacked up, the opportunity that you have. He's only making, I think, 80 some odd grand a year. Okay, that's, if you know the numbers of the joint venture deal, the minimum deal size generates $15,000 in revenue on a 50% split. Pardon me, that's $7,500 to the joint venture partner on the lowest deal size that we recommend doing. So he could do one joint venture deal per month. One joint venture deal per month and replicate his income. Okay? One buyer, one seller, one house, and replicate the income that he had, all while doing it from his house. Or his, wherever he's at, the beach, fishing, the cabin, wherever you are. Okay, so it's not that hard, but you got to do the work. And that's what most people don't want to do, right? They don't want to do the work. They just want to get paid, right? You got to do that. So to build the pipeline, what do you got to do? You got to start right now. You got to start building your pipeline right now, okay? You have to prospect daily, and by daily, I mean daily. You have to have an identified plan. What are you going to do on your How to Eat an Elephant plan? Where are those leads coming from? You've got to know this information. Where are they coming from? And then you have to prospect daily to get them. Now, I show you how to do it for free with a 10-minute task on the seller side for inventory. We also show you how to do it for free on the buyer side with mortgage brokers and all the things that we just covered a few minutes ago. And how long does that really take? A couple of minutes, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes a day. Can you do that to generate 6 figures, to potentially generate 7 figures or more? Everybody will say, nod their head and say, yes. Most will not do that. Most will not have any type of. Now, what they will do is they will go on Facebook and they will give Mark Zuckerberg content for free that he monetizes that they don't. Okay? That's what people are doing all day, every day on Facebook. Giving away. They're working for Mark for free. Don't work for Mark for free. Make Mark pay you for free. Okay? So, I mean, I'm on Facebook because I've got it well monetized. I get paid thanks to Mark's efforts and my own. You need to do the same thing, okay? So one thing I just put on here for members of the JBP and the Academy, there is an automated spreadsheet to calculate the number of daily prospects you need to contact. We already have the How to Eat an Elephant plan built out. It's in Podio and it's in the Academy so that you can just punch in your stuff and it'll do all the calculations for you automatically. Very, very simple, and then you can move on from there. Okay, Cheryl says, where can I find that How to Eat an Elephant webinar? Wyatt, do me a favor, jump on YouTube. It's I think it's under the Virtual Real Estate Investor YouTube channel. Grab that link and drop it in here so I can put it out. Okay, and okay, so he says the 23-year-old who's getting all these $1 million leads is doing his elephant plan daily. And here is the kicker. Here's the kicker. 23-year-old kid working a full-time slave job. We're having to coordinate calls on his lunch break and when he gets off. Okay, think about that for a second. And he's out there and he's making it happen. He's only 23 years old and he's working a full-time slave job, but he's working his plan every single day. And that's why he's having the results that he's having. Okay? All right, Des Andrews, where is the 10-minute task? I think Bill put it in the file section in the Facebook group. If not, we'll put that link up here for you too. It's very simple. You'll laugh when you see how simple it is, but it actually works. It's how I generated. Oh, you can go to the website also and sign up for the email list, and it'll be automatically emailed to you at virtualrealestateinvestor.org. But it's how I generated, when I first got this thing going, over $40 million in real estate contracts in less than 8 weeks. Okay, 10-minute task. It's 10 minutes for a reason. It doesn't take any longer than that. You really can't do it for any longer than that. 10 minutes. You got 10 minutes a day to generate some standing inventory, to talk to some sellers, to get some things working for you so that you can make money, because that's your product, is that house. All right. So 10 minutes a day talking to sellers. Talk to your mortgage brokers. Talk to, get your other ads going. And okay, so here is the link for how to eat an elephant. Let me do that. I may not let me do that. I'll email it out to everybody after this is done. Oh, here we go. Send all. There it is. Okay, there it is. Never mind. And I think this is the 10-minute task. Here you have to just go here. And you can just put your email address in, and the 10-minute task will be sent to you automatically. Okay, so you're going to start now. You're going to prospect every day. You're not going to stop prospecting. That's how you die in business. Okay, McDonald's never stops prospecting. You cannot go. They're the #1 restaurant corporation in the world. You cannot go anywhere without hearing the "I'm loving it" jingle, seeing them on the side of a bus, seeing a billboard, seeing a TV commercial, hearing them on the radio, seeing them on a sidebar ad on Facebook or something else. They're everywhere. They market for prospects every single day. If they do it, you should too. Okay. So you've got to be marketing for your prospects every single day, okay? Do not stop. Do not stop. Next thing is ask. Everybody that you talk to, even if they're not what you perceive to be a prospect or a lead, hey, I'm a real estate investor. I buy and sell houses. Who else do you know that has a property for sale or that's looking to buy one? And then shut up. They don't even have to be your prospect, but they know people. And guess what? 25% of the people they know are buying or selling a house this year. They're moving. So I'm going to give you guys a little challenge, okay? I'll tell you what. Here's what I want you guys to do. We'll find out who's serious. Remember, I have all your names and email addresses. I know exactly who's on here. So do this just for fun. I want you to contact 10 people that you know. You're not here to sell them on anything, okay? I want you guys to do this on a little spreadsheet thing. We should probably have Wyatt put it together so you actually have the form, and we'll build it into a web form, and you guys can just fill it out so you can see what the results are. But contact 10 people that you know, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, personally, whatever. Contact 10 people and say, hey, listen, I'm a real estate investor. I buy and sell houses every day. Who do you know that's looking to sell or looking to purchase a home? And then shut up. Okay? And come back and let us know. Tell us in the Facebook group, out of the 10 people that you contacted, how many leads did you get? Do you think you wouldn't get leads if you asked 10 people that question? You don't even have to sell them anything. How beautiful is that? 10 people. Tell me how many leads you get. Because there's money that's sitting right there within your sphere, okay? There's money sitting there that you're not harvesting with the people that you already know. You don't even have to give them the Amway sale. Say, hey, listen, I'm a professional real estate investor. I buy and sell houses. Who do you know is looking to sell or buy one? Who do you know is moving? Whatever. And then be quiet. Let them tell you, okay? So there's a wonderful free lead generation strategy for you today of non-prospects, people that you aren't even your targeted prospect, but they know people that are. Okay, just ask them, okay? Now, this is the biggest pipeline killer. I see people do it, especially when they're new. I see people do it even when they're not new, is they get what they think is a deal. Maybe it is and maybe it isn't. But they get a deal, and then they stop prospecting. You can never, it's a kiss of death, absolute kiss of death. Don't do it. You've got to continue prospecting every single day, just like McDonald's does. Every single day, we're going to prospect every single day, just like McDonald's, okay? Because here's what happens: they start working a deal. Like I say, I got to watch these 23-year-old kids too, because I know they're going to try to do the exact same thing. They get all jacked up. They start calculating the money. Okay, start spending the money in their head. Okay, oh, we're going to make 50 grand. Okay, he won't make 50 grand this year at his job, but then all of a sudden there's a $50,000 wire coming in. Well, guess what? Bam! That 50 grand is already mentally spent. Thinking about that, counting those Benjamins. Where's it going to go? Who I'm taking out? Living large at the club, all that stuff. And they stop prospecting, and then, God forbid, something happens and that deal does not close. They're devastated, right? And now they got nothing behind it, and then they quit because it didn't work. They put all that work into it, and they had mentally exhausted themselves spending the money they hadn't earned yet, okay, because they thought they had a deal. You don't have a deal until there's a wire in your account. That's when you have a deal. Up until that point in time, you don't have a deal. You got a bunch of hot air, but people don't listen. So you can never stop prospecting, because then you start back from zero, and that's not what you want to do, okay? So we prospect every single day. Doesn't matter if we get 2 deals, 8 deals, 10 deals, 20 deals. If you get overloaded with so many deals you can't work them all, that's a great problem to have, and we have plenty of resources to help you with that through all the automations that we have built out in Podio and the Academy and everything else. And I assure you, if you've got plenty of deals that you're going to be closing and there's too many for you to handle, there is absolutely no issue whatsoever with getting you the assistance that you need to get those deals closed out and get that money in. Promise you that, okay? And then the next thing is follow up, okay? I mean, this is a big one. A lot of people don't do it. They say the fortune is in the follow-up, right? You guys have heard that? Follow up. Follow up. This is how you build your pipeline. You start, you prospect daily, you don't stop, okay? Everybody that you're talking to, all day, every place you go, you are a lead generation machine. You're a prospecting machine, okay? Hey, I'm a professional real estate investor. I buy and sell houses. Who do you know that's looking to sell? Who do you know that's looking to buy? And shut up. That's your new pitch. Okay? That's all you got to do. That's it, for free, and they will tell you. And then you can contact those people, right? Okay, so David asked a question. For those in slave jobs, is there time better spent prospecting for buyers or for sellers? That is an excellent question. And it is what I call the chicken or the egg, which comes first. So I'm going to tell you how I did it when I first started out, and I'm going to tell you how I do it now and how I have been doing it for the last 10 years. Most of you probably already know this. It's very, very simple. So here's the rub, and a lot of people do not get this. Okay, and they see it manifest itself and they get frustrated. This is what I told them was accurate. It has been my experience that 90% of the people that contact you on an ad that you have advertised as no credit qualifying owner finance, okay, which is really their dream, do not want that house. What happens is they trigger off the no credit qualifying aspect, they trigger off of the owner finance aspect, the no banks needed aspect, whatever. And what they're really trying to find out is either A, do you have something else that will work, or B, can you get them something that will? That's really what they want to know, okay? So when I first got this thing going, back in, I guess it was late 2007, early 2008, we were actually buying short sales at the time. And then it kind of manifested itself into a bunch of people seeing what we were doing, asking if we could do the same thing for them. And I did not want to go out in the city of 5.5 million people in Atlanta and look like an idiot. I only have, 8. We had, I think, at any point in time, we had somewhere between 8 and 20 houses under contract to purchase with a partner on short sales. He would negotiate short sales. I would deal with the sellers and keep the prospects coming in, that kind of thing. And it was set up that way. And then I was dealing with selling the houses on lease options. I say selling, technically not selling, but I guess putting the lease option deals together so we had an exit strategy for an investor to come in and purchase the properties from us. So when we opened it up on the retail side, this is where the $40 million in inventory in less than 8 weeks came from, using a 10-minute task. And what I will tell you from personal experience is this: it is an absolute logistical nightmare. It is an exercise in futility. Yes, you can get a ton of properties in, And now you have all these sellers, as I found out, and they guess what they want? They want updates. They want to know why the house hasn't sold yet. Blah blah blah. Every single week you're hearing this stuff, and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, well I got this fantastic house, and let me tell you how ridiculous this is, okay? And you almost have to experience this to believe it. But I had entire new construction subdivisions. Okay, think about this now. You got a 480 credit score. You can't qualify to get a loan for a cup of coffee at Starbucks. And here I am with a $318,000 house, new construction, and 318 in Atlanta is a pad, just so you guys know. 4.3 granite stainless. There'll be 2 stories with a basement. Blah blah blah. At the time, this goes back to 2008, I guess. So almost 10 years ago, and got an entire neighborhood where you want to be. 20, 30 houses in this subdivision, all brand new, everything under warranty, brand new appliances, everything. Nobody's ever lived there. And people would come in and have this opportunity to come in and buy one of these things, which they couldn't do conventionally. And then they would turn up their noses at some of the houses. And I'm talking about these things these are, premium grade A construction, beautiful homes. Nothing wrong with them, but that's not what I want. And I'm like, are you out of your ever-loving mind? I'm just like, I would sit back, I'm like, they would go and they'd go out to the subdivision, they see 2, 4, 6 houses, 8 houses, 10 houses, and it's not what we want. And they would then want to go to something else. So I learned very quickly on that the easier, faster methodology was to go buyer first. Because I can go contract on 10 houses and sell none of them. But if I have a buyer that has cash, I can go contract on 1 house and sell it and make money. Okay, so that's what I've been doing ever since early 2009 when we shifted over to the contractor deed and all that. And I quickly realized that the inventory first model was not the way to go. Okay, so that's how I do it. I go buyer first because that way I know it's payday as soon as I get that contract on the house they want. And it works a lot better. That's why we have the thing with mortgage brokers, because we've already got people that have cash that want to buy a home, same with realtors. So my advice would be to go buyer first if you're in a slave job and you're trying to get out, because you can do one deal and get paid. Okay, one deal, get paid, get out of the slave job, do another deal, do another deal, do another deal, and keep it rocking that way, and go buyer first. Now, here's the rub with that. If you're going to be one of those people that that like to have a website and credibility and all this kind of stuff, you've got to have a website that's got inventory on. Okay, inventory that we know 90% of the time is not going to sell. So you have to also, you're going to have to generate some inventory, and you need to become proficient at contracting on houses, so that when the buyer comes along, you can do that for the property they want. But David, for you, I would recommend going buyer first. You're very polished. You look good in your profile pic. I would be on the phone with some loan jockeys and work it from that angle. Put on some Craigslist ads talking about you can help people that don't qualify for mortgage or whatever buy a home and own it today. Blah blah blah. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do for free to start generating buyer leads. Okay, I would go buyer first. Pre-qualify them using the 8 pre-qualification questions that we go through, and then at that point, once you've got them pre-qualified, then you can talk to them about entering into a contract to then get them a house. Now, I make them cough up $2,500 before I even go pick up the phone. It used to be $1,000, now it's $2,500. Okay, because I want to deal with people that are serious and understand what we're doing. I know I'm not wasting time. They've got the cash to move forward on a deal. You don't have to do that. I did it for years for free. And I got fed up with that with a couple people that made promises that they didn't follow through on, didn't have the cash, couldn't move, blah blah blah. But I was out there telling sellers that if I could just get the contract executed, I could have them cash that afternoon. Well, that happened 2 times in the same, I think it was in the same week. And I'm like, okay, that's it, we're done. We're going to make people start paying. And so I started charging $487, and then I ramped it up to $1,000, and then now it's $2,500 because I want to deal strictly with people that are serious, that they understand what's going on. They got some skin in the game. They've had to take a pause and think before they stroked out that money. If that makes sense. That's who I want to deal with. So, all right, Des asks, what type of contract is needed for buyer side of deal? Are we entering a JV contract with them? If you want to do it legally, yes, because we are not realtors, and we're not providing real estate services for a fee. So I will join venture with a buyer and then go buy a house. And that's the project is defined as to exactly what we're doing, what the percentages are, the whole 9 yards. And the objective here is to not engage in illegally brokering without a license. Okay, a lot of people don't do that. They go out there and they do all kinds of stuff. You see it all over Facebook, and that's a great way to get, you know, especially when you're memorializing it and writing in a public forum, great way to cause yourself a lot of problems. Okay, so I would not do that. I don't advise that. Make sure you enter into a JV agreement with them that specifically states exactly what it is that you're doing. Okay, so let's talk about this, and you guys start thinking through any other questions that you've got so I can get them answered here before we wrap this up. How to close more deals. Okay, this is the big one right here, the very top. Well, there's probably 2 big ones. I think all these are big anyway. Consistency. Consistency is key. Okay, most people have 0 consistency. They're here today, gone tomorrow. They do a deal and disappear. Can't tell you how many times that's happened, right? And they come back, now they're broke. They spent all the money. Now I got to start all over again. But it's hard. Well, it's only hard because you stop prospecting. You stop doing what you were doing that got you the deal that made you the money, right? Next up, focus on progress, not perfection. Okay. The key thing right now is to take action, get moving. Okay. Focus on what you're doing. But you know, a lot of the analyticals that we have, they want to engage in analysis paralysis and never take any action, and as a result, never do anything, and then they get frustrated because they're not making any money and they're working jobs they don't want to work. But then, you know, it's because they cannot focus on taking that action, okay, and understanding that, you know, nobody knows everything, okay? You don't have to know everything. You need to know just enough. That's why I start people off simply just pre-qualifying a buyer or seller. That's all I want you to do, and then I'll take it from there. And then you can learn, okay? You can learn, listen in and learn while we're on the phone on a live deal, okay? Then you can start to learn more about everything, all right? But a lot of people, they want to drink through the fire hose and don't want to take any action until they know everything. But, you know, when does that day come? Never. And so they pine away in these jobs they don't want to be in. And so don't do that, okay? Just, you know, I'm not saying go out there and do things stupidly. Don't understand what you're doing, but you don't have to have a PhD in real estate to start working deals, okay? You just need to make sure that what you're doing is legal, ethical, totally transparent. Everybody knows what's going on. And if you don't know the answer, it's totally okay. Don't fake it. Tell them you don't know. Go find out and come back to them. It's not a big deal. But don't do what these other guys teach you to do. You just falsely advertise, you know, commit bait and switch, lie to sellers, talk to them about, you know, third-party partners that you don't know who they are that are the cash buyers and blah, 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 so that you can lock their property up and have these stupid weasel escape clauses in there. So you don't have to put any money up at a title company because you're not really committed because you're out there doing all this crazy stuff and you want to weigh out when you can't keep your word. You know, you want to be able to quote-unquote cancel a contract. No such thing as canceling a contract, by the way. That's why it's a contract. Okay? No such thing as canceling it. That's what these guys teach you to do. So don't do that, all right? Now, here's what you got to understand. I told this long ago. Everything worthwhile in life is hard until it isn't. And the only way it's never not going to be is if you keep pushing forward. It's got to be worth it, okay? But everything worthwhile in life is hard. If it wasn't, everybody would be doing it, right? But you don't see everybody making 6 figures, do you? No, you do not. What do you see them do? Screwing around on Facebook. Why? It's easy. It's easy. Get mentally distracted, waste time on Facebook, making Mark Zuckerberg money. So you really need to figure out what your why is to determine whether or not it's worth it. Do you have kids? Is that your why? Do you have a vision for helping other people? Is that your why? What is your why? Figure out what your why is, so that way when it does get hard, and it's going to get hard, it's going to get harder before it gets easier. It's like anything else. I was explaining this to my son yesterday. We were talking about learning to play guitar, and I'm trying to make him understand that, look, okay, yeah, it's cool, you get a guitar, and you know, it's not going to be just banging on the strings. You know, if you want to truly learn how to play guitar, if I'm going to go drop, you know, $500 on a guitar and money on an amplifier and money on lessons and, you know, musician and all this other stuff, I said, you know, you need to understand that you're going to have to practice, and it's not going to be easy at first. Okay? Just like I told him, the analogy I used was like when I first started playing golf. It's like when anybody first starts playing golf, right? You see it on TV, they make it look so easy, right? These the PGA Tour, good God, those guys make it look easy. Go out there with a golf club for the first time, okay? It is one of the most frustrating things that you have ever experienced in your entire life when you swing and miss the ball completely. When you hit, a foot behind it and send a big divot of grass and dirt 20 feet down the fairway, okay? And you're like, good God, how is this, how is it possible that it's this challenging to hit a little white ball with this golf club and then to make it go where you want it to go? It's unbelievably frustrating when you first start playing golf, especially if you don't take lessons, okay? This can be the same way, okay? It can be that way, but you got to understand, is it worth it to not have to work the slave job? Is it worth it to make the kind of money that you see these people doing when they drop these checks and HUDs and that kind of thing on the internet? Is that worth it? Because for most people, it's not worth it, and that's why they're still, where they are. I got people that have been following me for 4 years, still working slave jobs. I'm like, why? What am I doing that you can't do? I'm a voice on the phone. I'm a guy typing on a keyboard. That's it. Tell you everything I know for free. Here it is. You guys can do the exact same thing, right? But it's hard, okay? It's hard because they got to learn. They got to learn how to sell. They got to learn how to close. Got to practice. Nobody wants to do these things. They don't want to put in the foundational work for education and practice and skill. Okay, that's what you're going to have to do. So you're going to have to determine if it's worth it, and the way to do that is to figure out your why, and then have that so that you know that when it does get challenging, that it will be worth it. Okay, I'm sure you guys have seen that thing that goes around. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm telling you it's going to be worth it. Absolutely, it's going to be worth it. If this is your calling, if this is what you're passionate, if this is what you want to do, then it's absolutely going to be worth it. Okay, but you're going to have to push through. Okay, just like when I started first playing golf, you're going to have to push through. Some of you guys have heard this story before. I was in mortgage banking when I first got involved in it, and I hated it. Did not like it. I was in a boiler room. You guys know what a boiler room is? Call center, inbound calls, doing debt consolidation refis. Okay, didn't know any better. Hated it. When he told me, like, the reason that you don't like it is because you're not good at it. It's like golf. I hated golf when I first started playing too. Why? Because I wasn't good at it. She says, get good at it and then make a determination as to whether or not you like it. Okay? And it's like, oh, I don't want to hear that. You're making me so mad. I don't want to hear that. Okay? I want to quit. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. It's hard. But, okay, I took her advice. I said, okay, I'm going to be the very best that I can be. How do I do that? What's step one? So let's go learn that. And I did that, and of course, then from there, at that point on, #1 guy every place I ever worked. And I got very, very good at it. And that's not me patting myself on the back. I mastered that craft for what I was doing because I made it a priority. And I practiced, I got educated, and I did everything I could to be better than anybody else. And that's what you guys are going to have to do too, if it's worth it. Now, it may not be worth it. This may not be your thing. It may not resonate, and that's totally okay. But you may not know that until you get good at it, and then you may love it. So maybe one of those things you need to push through. Okay, so make a determination, get serious, follow a course. What do they call it? Focus. Follow one course until successful. Right? And push through. Talking to one of my JVPs this morning. Getting frustrated. I'm like, well, I get it, man. But suck it up, buttercup. It is what it is. Right? This is what you need to do to get out of that slave job. Now it's either worth it or it's not. And if you think this sucks, think about going back to that slave job. How bad does that suck? You know what I mean? So, yeah, there you go. All right? So, there you have it. Now, if you guys have any other questions before we wrap this up, I mean, we cover all of this stuff in the Academy. We cover all this stuff in the Facebook group. We cover, backwards, forwards, 7 ways from Sunday. We've got everything totally automated so that, we're getting to the point now where we're push-button contracts and things spit out, and we're actually putting together a whole thing to make it even easier now with kind of like a Build-A-Bear. You guys know what Build-A-Bear is. It's like build a contract where you can click buttons and all the clauses are added automatically. If you guys have ever done anything with like Rocket Lawyer or anything like that, this is going to be very similar to that, where you get to just pick and choose buffet style what clauses go into the contract. And we're doing everything we can to scale and have this automated. But again, the key thing here with everybody is consistency, right? For those that are in slave jobs, for those, you gotta have consistency in your prospecting, your daily prospecting. And yes, I get it. Facebook is unbelievably seductive. It's unbelievably seductive. It's like an addictive drug. I get it. You get the dopamine going. Got it. But through deals consistently, you're going to have to resist the temptation, right? Resist that temptation to waste all of your time horsing around giving Mark Zuckerberg free content, okay? Because that's all you're doing, okay? You got one slave job, and then you're working as a slave for somebody else to give them free content, so he can make money. He's making money off of Facebook ads, okay? Don't do that. Focus on perfecting your craft. Focus on getting, after you find out your why, getting out of the job, providing a better income and lifestyle for your family, right? You got to focus on that stuff if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, take a look. Hey, take a look around wherever you're at right now. It's where you're going to be. I mean, I'm sorry, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I got to tell you that, but that's what's going to happen. Like I told you, I got guys 4 years in, following me every step of the way, liking all my stuff, listening to all the things, but not taking any action. Still working slave jobs 4 years. I'm like, why? I don't get it. But that's the way people are. Maybe that's the way you are. I don't know. I hope not. Because I can tell you, it's nice to be able to, control your schedule, to make money, to have people bringing you deals. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. You guys can create the exact same thing. You can imagine an army of people bringing you deals. How great would that be, right? You can do it. That's what you need to be working on right now if this is what you want to do. So, okay, Des has a question. Would you recommend Rocket Lawyer if we're not part of the JVP program? Well, the answer, I assume you're talking about for contracts. The JVP contract I bought off Rocket Lawyer is like $14. And then I took it and I modified it. There is no, you guys need to get off this hang up with like there's some miracle contract. There's nothing spectacular about my contracts. They're just, they have the clauses in them that I want. They're suited for the way that we do business that help us avoid Dodd-Frank and help me have to not put any money down, not have to make any payments. That whole thing, they're all set up that way for a reason. On the JVP side, my JVP agreement, like I said, I bought from Rocket Lawyers, $14, and then I modified it, and that's what we use now with buyers. It's also what we use with the actual joint venture partners. So, yeah, I don't have anything negative to say about Rocket Lawyers since I've spent money with them and used their stuff. Matter of fact, I asked Wyatt last week to get me something off of Rocket Lawyers so I could see it for another contract type. I just wanted to see what they were doing. Okay. Jeff, would you recommend prospecting in the markets you currently are working in as opposed to the market I live in? I don't know what market you live in, so maybe you could tell me what market you currently live in. I started in the market that I lived in at the time, which was Metro Atlanta. I was in Alpharetta, and there wasn't any real need for me to start there, but I knew it. I was familiar with it, and it was an absolute gold mine because there were just tons of houses and tons of people, and I was there. So it's probably easier to start off where if it's a market that's conducive to the metrics that we're looking for, then yeah, you don't have to not start there. But I like to go after the metro areas because you've got a lot of six-figure income households, and you have higher priced houses because people there can afford them, so you make more money. Okay, Des says, lawyers aren't affordable for me at the moment. You never heard me say anything about going to get an attorney. In fact, I got a whole podcast episode advising you not to go get an attorney. You should probably go listen to that because I don't use them. And I don't advise anybody else does either. I do advise you getting educated, but you don't need an attorney to put a contract together. You do need to know what you're doing, though, before you put your ink to paper. Craig says, thank you so much for the stay on. My pleasure. We're going to be doing this every week now going forward. Okay. Jeff says, I'm in Vermont. Seller financing is virtually unheard of here. Yeah, Vermont, you got a tough market there, man, because, there's not a lot of people, right? You got, I mean, a lot of land, but not a lot of people, right? And that, I mean, very population not dense, I would think. I don't know. I would not, that would not be where I would suggest for you to start in Vermont now. I would, you know, Atlanta, Charlotte, Denver, you know, Southern California, Nashville, Houston, San Antonio. You got to know what you're doing in Texas, but in any state, you got to know what you're doing. But I mean, any of the big, you know, hell, Chicago, Phoenix, any of the big metro areas can be fantastic for this. And let me qualify this. Chris Moran did a deal. He did not do what I told him, what I advised doing, but he found a niche market. Okay, he found this like niche market because he's in the military. He's active duty military, and he was able to kind of tap into a bunch of sellers that are over in Iraq and Afghanistan that had houses for sale that they wanted to sell. Of course, he had the instant rapport builder because he's active duty military. They could check him out and know it wasn't a scam. So he was able to contract on a house, you know, quickly, bam, just like that. Guys over in Afghanistan, you know, eating a payment on a house over here that he's not living in, is vacant, and he was then able to generate multiple buyers that had cash that were racing to get closed on that transaction just so you get the wire in first. And it was in a market that is not one that I would have ever advised, okay, at a price point that is not one that I would have ever advised, but turned out to be this little hot pocket of 6- and 7-figure income earners buying, you know, that were there. And when I say that, you know, they're running companies like this guy was the buyer, excuse me, was owned an HVAC company, and it was like if I remember correctly, it was like a $215,000 house, I think. Let's go back and look. It was last year, about a year ago. But so I mean, so you know, you don't have to do it exactly my way. Okay, I do it my way because in my experience, that's what works and gets me the paydays that I'm looking for. Okay, I like to do the higher dollar stuff because it's easier and you make more money than the lower dollar stuff. Okay, Wyatt just put, here's the link for the why I don't use attorneys, why you should not either, even though we're required to tell you that you should. Okay, Cheryl Williams, great question. Is it best to focus on one market or go after several at the same time? We're in Colorado. Cheryl, I don't know, I forget. You think you guys are in Colorado Springs, aren't you? I would focus on Colorado Springs. That's exactly what I would do. Or, you know, if you're comfortable with Denver, hit Denver too. But I would not go after more than one market at a time. And let me explain to you why that is. My JVPs try to do this stuff all the time. They're like, it's like the machine gun or, you know, spaghetti approach. And so here's what happens. The reason it worked so well for me when I first got going, when I was building inventory, pardon me, was because I was in Atlanta, and let me back. It had nothing to do with where I was at. That's where I was at the time. But I focused on Atlanta because that's where I was at, and I knew the market, and there was tons of houses and new construction builders and everything else. Everything was right for what I was trying to do. But it worked so well because then when somebody came in, based on the metric that I was advertising, which was a $300,000 plus house, $2,000 a month plus property, I didn't just have one, I had more than one. So if option A didn't work out, I had option B and C. Okay? So if you're going to focus on inventory, you want penetration and density in one market so that when the buyer comes in off your ad, if house A doesn't work, house B or C may, and that's how you can make more money. What a lot of people want to do is like, okay, well, I'm going to do something here in Denver, I'm going to do something in Seattle, I'm going to do another thing over here in Boston, and they're all over the place, and they're not making any money because they're scattered everywhere, and it's too much. Focus, let's just do, it's like Carly in, what was that movie? The One Thing. Here's what I'm talking about. You got to focus on the one thing. Right now, just focus on one market. That's all you need. Okay, just think about, you know, one market is could be a 6-figure payday. If not, it's definitely a 5-figure payday. Okay, you don't need that many of those to really have a great life. So one market, and then you can expand. I started off in Atlanta, and then sort of by default, because we got the entire REO portfolio of Park Avenue Bank, I ended up down in Florida because they had stuff down there as well, and then it just kind of grew from there with the advent of the Home Finder program, where we then were able to do stuff pretty much anywhere because people were finding us on the internet, and so we ended up doing deals all over the place. But If you're going inventory, one market. As far as buyers concerned, if you're going buyers first, it doesn't really matter. But you want to focus on, I say it doesn't matter. It depends on if you're generating inventory or not, I guess. But if you're doing buyers, I mean, you can do them anywhere. It doesn't make a difference where they're at. The difference would be whether or not you have actual inventory when they come in. Okay, so Jeff says, yeah, not a huge population, but high dollar homes. Well, keep one thing in mind, high dollar homes, they're harder to qualify for. So if you got bunch of inventory that's sitting there, I don't know that I've ever done one in Vermont, so I may not be the best person to ask that to. Maybe something where you just kind of test it out and see what happens, and maybe one of these little hot pockets, man, maybe a gold mine, because people are looking for solutions, and if they've never heard of owner financing, it may be exactly what they're looking for. Okay. Why you just brought up, I would add focusing on one market establishes your reputation for being a superstar and can lead to referrals in other markets, provided you perform exceptionally for your clients. This is true as well. So, like I said, I think, start with one, and then you can get some success, and then kind of move on from there. But other than that, guys, that's all I got for today. Unless you have any more questions, if you do, fire them over on the right-hand side. If you guys are interested in anything else that we're doing, want to be part of the JVP, want to join the Academy, I'm going to drop the link over here right now. And you can see all the information that's there with what we got with Podio and all the other crazy stuff that we're doing, and the lending desk, and just the 4 billion other things that we've got going on right now. But other than that, that is it. I hope this was beneficial to you. Now, the key purpose of this thing, understand something, okay? The purpose of Monday Morning Mastermind is to get you guys jacked up and focused on what you need to be accomplishing this week, okay? So let's go back through this real quick, because I want you to understand this, okay? As we go through these things, what did I talk about? Generating leads, that's prospecting. Building your pipeline, this is the pipeline of deals that prospects that you're putting together. And then closing more deals, okay? This is what your focus needs to be right now. Let's go through it, right? Where's it? Get your how to eat an elephant plan together. Walk through that process. Know exactly what you have to do on a daily basis, because that will tell you, based on your conversion ratios, what your numbers are, and then you don't have to think about it on a daily basis. It's already done for you. It's right there. Bam. Okay? Bam. You already know exactly what you got to do, and then do it. Build your pipeline out, and guess what happens? The more of a pipeline you have, the more money you make, the easier it is to make it, because now you've got all this activity. And that's what most people don't get. That's what I tell you. When you get one deal, don't stop. Keep going. You got to keep pushing forward. You know what I mean? Okay, Steven says, can you do a recap of lead sources? Where was it? Yeah, as far as the free lead sources, yeah. I mean, this is easy. Facebook's a good one. Craigslist, mortgage brokers, realtors. And then you guys came up with about 20 other ones that we need to get a list of, because those are all really good ones. And then we probably should put together some tutorials on how to generate leads from Instagram and LinkedIn and all that. Those are really good. The expireds was fantastic. I don't know. Maybe somebody can tell me how, unless you're a realtor and have access to the MLS, how are you getting expired listings, and don't they kind of frown on that? I don't even know. What do they? I mean, is that if you're a realtor, if anybody on the call is a realtor, what's the current posture? Are you allowed to contact the expired listings if you're a realtor, or are you not? I don't know how. I mean, I don't follow that side, so I don't know what they tell you. Anybody? Okay. Maybe not. Okay. Okay. Hang on a second. All right. So David had a quick question here. It's a good one. Buyers who do not qualify because they are business owners, in other words, self-employed, who want to show income for tax purposes, do they have to show income during the contract term in order to qualify later? They don't have to show income during the contract term. Most self-employed people that are coming to me do not qualify for financing, and it has not, like the guy I just told you about on the deal with Chris Morin. The guy had perfect credit, could go out and get $3 million in commercial loans from Regions Bank, but they wouldn't give him anything on the residential side because he was writing everything down to have no personal income, so he didn't have to pay taxes on it. Okay, nothing wrong with that, nothing illegal about that. Very smart, but it was not going to make sense for him to pay taxes he didn't owe so he could go into debt with Regions Bank. Okay, so in those situations, we can set them up on, and we do this, on a fully amortized deal so that there is no balloon, so they don't have to refinance, and they can just pay it off during the term. Okay, I mean, they can always refinance if they want to, if they ever do get qualified, but for most self-employed people, it's never going to make financial sense for them to pay taxes they don't owe. So they can go into debt with a lender. Okay. Steven said realtors contact the expired listings all day long. I would be too. I mean, if you guys have access to the MLS, I know I've had many times over the years, realtors have given me their logins and that kind of thing. Expired listings, absolutely. They're looking for a solution. They didn't. Alex says, okay, you're allowed to contact after they expire. I would be on the phone. Okay. Okay, L'Oreal says you can contact them. They're probably being bombarded, though. Yes, L'Oreal, I would say they're probably being bombarded, but guess what they're being bombarded for? Somebody to do another listing, I would guess, right? Okay, so here, let me help you. Okay, Leon says we can contact expired listings unless they're on the DNC, which is do not call list. Okay, interesting. That's good information. So, L'Oreal, here you go. I'm going to give you a gift right now. So here's what I would do. You got to take your realtor hat off. Maybe you're not a realtor, I don't know, but whoever the realtors are that are contacting the expired listings, take your realtor hat off for a second. And put your investor hat on. I need to have some hats made up so I can send them to you guys. Put your investor hat on for a second, and here's the spiel. I assume you're going to know if the house is vacant or not, and if not, you can certainly find out in the first couple of seconds of a phone call. But if it is, and they're making payments on a vacant property, then instead of going in with the realtor pitch for another listing, which they're obviously going to be averse to because guess what? They've already been let down, right? Maybe have nothing to do with anything with the realtor, and maybe everything to do with mortgage lending would probably be my guess. But let's just say, Mr. Seller, you know, blah, blah, blah. So you had your listing had expired. You know, not here to talk to you about another listing, but let me ask you a question. You know, if there was a way that I could get you full price for your property with no realtor commission of any kind, is that something you'd be interested in? And then shut up. Right? Called the If I Could, Would You Close? If there was a way that I could get you full price for your property with no realtor commission of any kind, is that something that would interest you? And then shut up. Of course, what are they going to say? Right? They're going to say, yes, of course. So now they've given you the open invitation to tell them more. Okay, well, here's who I am. Now, understand, even though I am licensed, I'm not working in a realtor capacity. I'm a real estate investor. And, you know, like you, we had the same issues with selling some of our properties, and here's how we solved that problem. And here's what I can do for you today. You know, no listing, no commission. You never pay me a dime, but I can get you full price, right? Your price, my terms. This is what I need, and done. And you can be contracting on properties every single day. Okay, don't tell me you can't, because nobody else is going after them with that pitch, right? Does that make sense? Maybe, I don't know. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? That's what I would be doing. Because you're going to totally disarm them because they think they're going to give you the Heisman stiff arm because they think that you want, want another listing. And when you go in right out of the gate not wanting a listing and being able to give them full price and no commission of any kind, I mean, you just whack them over, you shock the hell out of them because that's not what they're expecting. So now they're going to be interested, you know, okay, what's going on here? Now you've got to disclose, like I said, that you're working in investor capacity and all that. And of course, you have to disclose that in writing to them. But that's what I would do. I mean, guys, listen, this is beautiful. Let me tell you why. Because hopefully you're realizing from the interaction, the questions that you guys have, that you already have all of the sources at your fingertips to be successful. Okay? You already have the gold mine, you're just not mining it. And the reason you're not mining it, it's not your fault. Okay? It's not your fault. And I'll tell you why it's not your fault. It's not your fault because you got these guru shills out here that are teaching all this crap, okay, with no basis in reality, no basis in legality, but it sells courses and we can rah, 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 ring the bell and all that stuff, but is that going to make you any money? It's going to cost you a lot of money. And coaching and bandit signs and yellow letters and all this stuff, you know, that whole model is dead. It's the all the same guys are selling all the same stuff. There's no innovation of any kind, right? You're tied to a local market. You got to spend all this money on marketing and advertising. Guess what? Everybody else is doing the exact same thing. And getting good information it's very challenging to find it, okay? I mean, the mainstream REI training is all the same crap. And then try to give you the next bright shiny object. If you're intelligent in internet marketing on the REI side, you come out with a newfangled bright shiny object every 6 to 8 weeks because people will pay for it. Okay, that's how it works. But it's all, most of the stuff that's out there is crap. Okay, and so you have all these resources, but you know, realtors, this is not bashing realtors, but realtors, like everybody else, they work their pay plan. So your realtor broker is not going to be thinking about how you can make money as an investor, and they're not going to teach you that. They're going to teach you how to make money as a realtor. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But at best, they're going to teach you how to make money as a realtor. They're not thinking about how you can make money as an investor. The guru guys, all they're thinking about is how they're going to make money off of you buying their stuff, teaching you stuff that largely is illegal and totally fraudulent. Okay? But if you have access to expired listings, that's a gold mine. Now, you're going to have to kiss a lot of frogs probably. People are already unhappy. It's like calling people on foreclosures, right? They're not happy. But the good news is they are looking for a solution, and they've already identified that because there was a listing. You know what I mean? So they want to sell, they haven't sold, and you may be able to save them from foreclosure and bankruptcy. You don't know. All you got to do is ask one question. If I could get you full price with no realtor commission, is that something that would interest you? So I got to ask them. That's it. That was probably worth the price of admission right there if you're a realtor, okay? Or you're licensed and you have access to the MLS, and that's a little nugget right there that we'll see how many people actually go through and they do the 10 contact 10 people and ask them who they know that's looking to buy or sell. But if you're a realtor and you have access to the expired listings and you're on here, go contact 10 expired listings and just ask them that question, and then hit me in the Facebook group and tell me what your responses were, okay? Because I'm interested to know, because I would, if the people still have the houses, unless they've already rented it or something like that, it's still sitting there vacant, or they're still in it and they still need to move. You're looking at payday. You know what I mean? So, all right, guys. Hey, thank you for your time. Yeah, hold on, Wyatt threw one more little nugget in here. He says, one suggestion, if you're partnering with a mortgage broker, ask them who their preferred realtors are to get a warm handoff. Sensational. Yep, do the same thing with realtors. Who's your preferred lender? Back and forth. And then, hey, so-and-so, tell me you are their preferred person, and ask me to give you a call, because I'm looking for a competent realtor, or I'm looking for a competent mortgage broker to work with my clients. Boom. Automatic intro, rapport building, fantastic. Okay, you guys can do this. I'm telling you can do this. It's not that hard. Keystrokes and sound waves. That's it. Keystrokes and sound waves. Never go anywhere. Don't talk to anybody. Don't clear titles. Don't waste any time on all that stuff. Like, just go do deals and make money. Let these other clowns go out there and spin their wheels. Okay, that's not you. That's why you're here. So you guys have a fantastic day. I hope this was beneficial. If you think it was, go say something nice on Facebook or whatever, or even better yet, go pay me money and join the academy. JVP. But no, I'm kidding. Well, not really kidding, but the most serious of things are often said in jest. Nonetheless, you guys have a great afternoon. I hope it was beneficial for you. Thank you.